After losing to Jey Uso at WrestleMania 40, Jey Uso began to rise to prominence as a solo artist. With his recent Intercontinental Championship triumph, the 39-year-old began his reign atop the Red brand and won his maiden singles championship. Jimmy and Jey Uso had an unexpected encounter backstage at this week's WWE Raw. The meeting between the two men was featured in headlines worldwide, as the latter attempted to reintroduce Jey into the Bloodline tale. But one WWE Hall of Famer thinks it was a poor decision. In a recent episode of the Busted Open podcast, Bully Ray discussed the encounter and said that WWE should have held off on airing it on a Red brand film instead. Instead of taping the incident backstage, the Hall of Famer said Triple H should have allowed fans to shout for it when both guys were in the ring. It seems like WWE is preparing for a Bloodline vs. Bloodline bout at Survivor Series, which is just around the horizon. A huge tease for a possible reunion between the two guys was the face-to-face conversation between Jimmy and Jey on the Red brand. Even though Jey Uso is ignoring the plan for the time being, he will apparently rejoin the group in order to defeat the new Bloodline. Much excitement is building for the major plot, so it will be fascinating to see how the faction's destiny plays out. Long-term plots, unexpected turns, and the ebb and flow of character arcs have always made WWE a fascinating tapestry. All it takes is a skillful use of these qualities to produce wrestling legends and unforgettable moments that will be remembered for years to come. Among these superstars, Jey Uso stands out for his career of gradual build-ups culminating in spectacular drops, as seen most notably in his role in the Bloodline plot that has swept WWE in the last 2 years. A WWE Hall of Famer is among many who have voiced their disapproval of Triple H's decision to hasten a crucial development in Jey Uso's solo career as a result of a recent Raw maneuver involving Jey. There was a sense of urgency in the decision, according to the Hall of Famer, and WWE should have let it build. But where did they go wrong? How could this wrestling great have possibly reasoned that it could have been wiser to let things simmer? Discussing the events of Raw in perspective, the bigger picture of Jey Uso's journey, and the significance of timing in WWE storytelling, especially when addressing a character like Jey Uso, would be a great first step. Along with his brother Jimmy, Jey Uso has been a member of a legendary tag team in WWE for quite some time. As tag team champions and brothers, their relationship won over fans and helped them win more titles. When Jey joined the Bloodline storyline and allied himself with his cousin Roman Reigns, the focus shifted to a family-centric narrative that dominated WWE television. A key character in Roman Reigns' group, Jey emerged during the Bloodline storyline with Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. As he struggled to balance his allegiance to his family and his need for autonomy, the emotional complexity of Jey's storyline enthralled the WWE Universe. His battles and rebellion against Reigns were a protracted affair that began months ago and culminated in a spectacular confrontation at SummerSlam 2023. It was meant to be the beginning of Jey's new chapter in the business, but after a falling out with Roman and Jimmy, he left WWE as a plot device, and Cody Rhodes lured him back to Raw as a single challenger. After a long hiatus, Jey Uso made a triumphant comeback on Raw on September 4, 2023. Many were hoping that his solo career would be a steady climb, with singles coming out one after the other. But that's when things started to become tricky. The rapid escalation of feuds and alliances between Jey and other Raw superstars, like as Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens, caused quite a stir in the WWE Universe. One WWE Hall of Famer has made the most vehement complaint about the show's lightning-fast storyline pace, which has divided fans. This WWE Hall of Famer, who has stayed unnamed in the beginning reports, is believed to have strong ties to WWE's traditional narrative methodology and has critiqued the rapid escalation of Jey Uso's Raw run. This Hall of Famer claims that Triple H, who is now in charge of WWE's creative direction, should have given Jey more time to establish his character and his relationships with the company before jumping into rivalries and possible alliances so quickly after his debut. Hall of Famer Phil Griffin spoke frankly about his dissatisfaction with the current direction of Jey on Raw in an interview with a wrestling podcast. The remarkable aspect of Jey's ascent in the Bloodline plot was the duration it required. Every struggle and feeling washed over you. According to the Hall of Famer, it is the secret to attracting loyal followers and achieving long-term success. But lately, I've seen that they're putting Jey in circumstances where she's not prepared. I get that they want to make him a single star, but give it some space. Not only does this include Jey Uso, but it also pertains to WWE's broader tendency of speeding up stories that would be better served by taking their time to develop. Jey is a man who really flourishes when the stakes are high emotionally. If you try to rush it, you might end up destroying what made him unique, the Hall of Famer went on to say. Before pushing him into big angles, they should have given him time to find his footing and allowed the fans to become invested in his journey on Raw. According to the Hall of Famer, Jey Uso's current Raw run could have used a more calculated build-up, much as his position in the Bloodline did. The capacity to make viewers care deeply about the characters, particularly in WWE, is a major strength of professional wrestling. Storylines that took months or even years to properly unfurl, including The Undertaker vs. Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin's ascension, and the latest Bloodline saga, were some of WWE's most legendary. The path that led up to the major matches is just as memorable to fans as the contests themselves. One plotline that shows how effective slow-burn storytelling can be is the Bloodline plot. For nearly 2 years, Jey Uso evolved from a devoted cousin to a defiant rival to Roman Reigns in the world of professional wrestling. The fans were able to emotionally connect with Jey's struggle, inner turmoil, and the final rift that developed between him, Roman, and Jimmy, because WWE patiently let that tale unfold.